Alrighty, folks, let's get into it. The next new moon coming up on Monday, May 26th, apex at 11:02 Eastern Standard Time, is going to be in the sign of Taurus. And if you're confused right off the hop here, this is True Sidereal Astrology, otherwise known as alchemical astronomy, where we're looking at the authentic placements of the luminaries and etheric bodies as they are in the visible sky. Tropical astrology, which is the majority of what you'll see online, is not based on the stars at all. Unfortunately, it is a symbolic construct based on a calendar and clock designed to ensnare humanity in the lower cycles of the earth. So, if you're a celestial being looking to evolve, you want to be paying attention to the alchemical astronomy, or the authentic positions of the luminaries. When you look at the sky, the sun and the moon will be at the same point in Taurus, pretty darn close to Mercury, right? A few degrees behind, and not too far away from Uranus either. So there is a bit of restless energy, even though we do have a Taurus stellium going on, which is a very grounded kind of energy. It is that fixed earth, the physical world, our resources. So a new moon in Taurus is a potential, like a powerful potential for beginning a new cycle with something very tangible in your world. Okay, they build on each other. This is how the zodiac works. Okay, so the lunar cycles in successive signs. So in Aries, we had that fiery initiation of a new paradigm, and now this lunar cycle is going to be about setting yourself up with some routines and structures and things that you can do to ground yourself into the practical aspects of this new reality that is heart-centered and magical and expansive, versus the old way of just hustle and grind and closing yourself off, putting your needs aside. All of that is being left behind as we move into a more heart-centered way of being. So this new moon in particular, there's a lot of harmonious aspects going on. You can see in the chart here a lot of blue lines. I like how this system color codes it, right? So it really gives you a visual. When you see red, it's like, eh. When you see blue, it's like, ah. Okay, so we've got a lot of support coming from this cluster here. So the sun and the moon always at the same point when there's a new moon. That's what it means. When it's a full moon, they're opposite each other on the wheel. Mercury being right close by means that our thinking, our communication, the transmission is being illuminated by this lunar cycle. And then Uranus is the planet of like switching things up, being the rebel, innovation, freedom, right? So this is really giving. You can create a new reality if you just get your shit together. Your poop in a group, as I like to say, right? Like, and what I mean by that is not like you have to do more or work harder. It means that you have to get your being in alignment, okay? And Mars just freshly in Leo is going to help this. Mars has been in Cancer. It was in retrograde in Cancer back into Gemini, and then it had to go all the way through Cancer again. So it's been a couple months of like being in your feels, maybe being a bit aggressive about your needs and feeling like your needs are not being met, or coming up against a lot of really intense emotions about your self-concept and who you are and who you're being in the world. But now Mars in Leo is way more comfortable. It's fire and fire, okay? So this is giving us energy around, or like capacity, access to energy about self-expression, being yourself, being playful, being creative. All of this is Mars in Leo, and we've got some like harmony, a trine here with Venus. So Venus and Mars are the masculine and feminine, so they're working together. Venus in Pisces is the valuing of that receptivity, okay? The void, the feminine essence, right? This is really the law of three, two parts of it in action. The masculine doing like outward creativity, expansion, play, and the feminine receptivity, intangibility, expansiveness, okay? Now, Venus is pretty close to Chiron, so you may be having some sensitivities around your wounds when it comes to receiving, and this is going to be coming up in order for you to be aware of this so that you can choose differently, okay? It's safe to be receptive. It's safe to be your totally magical, witchy, occultist, wizardly type, so whatever archetypal label you identify with. You're a magical person, and you can exist by being magical and receiving, leaning into receiving. You don't have to do so much, okay? So we're having a balancing of that energy. And then This energy over here is also of interest with this lunar event, okay? We've got Saturn right on top of Neptune, not in Aries, okay? So this is where it's really important to look at the visible sky and harness the current alchemical energetic effects instead of just listening to the mainstream tropical system and all of the spiritual influencers just parroting each other and telling you that Saturn's moving into Aries and it's time to initiate and go, where Saturn actually has some more unwinding to do, okay? Saturn is still in the depths of Pisces, getting real close to Neptune, which is also Pisces energy, okay? So this is giving, it's not saying you can't do anything, but what it is saying is that what you're doing needs to be aligned with your heart, and it needs to come after a period of doing nothing, okay? The nothingness and the void is part of the equation, and this is what we are learning as we move forward as a collective. We don't need to do so much, and actually when we do too much, it ends up leading us in the same circle around the wheel of samsara, which is the wheel of suffering in the physical world, okay? In the new paradigm, less is more. And that is what Saturn and Neptune in Pisces is giving us with this lunar event. The value of devotion, right? Bringing that structured energy to your magical life, okay? You can have both. The magic needs a structure to latch onto, but that structure needs to come from your internal locus of control and be developed as a support system for you to live your most magical life, okay? Other supportive energies here involve Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn. Okay, so it's moving backwards now, and then it's going to have its whole run through. Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for like 18 years, guys. Okay, we've got basically 2 decades of dismantling oppressive structures ahead of us, and there's nothing to be afraid of here. This is not meant to be fear-mongering or causing anxiety in you. There is just as much destructive energy in the universe as creative energy, and everything that is born or created needs to be destroyed at some point. It is the inevitable, okay? So what we are witnessing right now is the destruction of the patriarchy, and the patriarchy has nothing to do with gender. It has everything to do with the valuing of the masculine doing energy, that hustle, grind, externalization, intellectualization, analytical focus, right? Which is, I mean, we need that sometimes, but we've been overemphasizing that aspect, and it is time for that to come to an end, as all this energy in Pisces, the North Node in Pisces, right, is really giving us that dharma of being more heart-centered, moving into the solar plexus, moving away from the brain or the mind as your primary mode of operation. And with that comes the dismantling of all the systems that were built on that old paradigm, okay? So we have supportive energy of Capricorn, Pluto dismantling Capricorn energy, essentially supporting this conjunction. Saturn, I mean, Capricorn is Saturn energy, okay? So this is kind of double whammy of this Saturnian energy being supportive of the new paradigm, okay? And then also supporting directly these harmonious aspects to the sun and the moon and Mercury and Uranus. The only real tension in this lunar event is between Jupiter in the high degrees of Taurus and this conjunction with Saturn and Neptune, okay? So Jupiter in the high degrees of Taurus is the expansion of the physical world. There might be this kind of pressure, like you might be feeling like things aren't happening fast enough, or that maybe you need to be doing more, okay? Like, because this is the old programming coming up. And in fact, less is more again, okay? So this idea, this tension here is like Jupiter wanting to expand in the physical world, Saturn and Neptune saying, wait a minute, we still have some unraveling to do. The systems that we're working with are festering and they need to be cleaned out in order to build a fresh system. And if you build a new system right now, the foundation is all mushy and rotten, and it's going to end up being a bad time, okay? So that's basically what this tension is here, is like slow and steady, lean into your internal landscape, relax, rest, have fun, right? Like lean into this Mars and Leo energy. It's getting to be summertime here in the northern hemisphere. I'm in Canada, southwestern Ontario. It's finally getting warm and sunny. The days are longer, right? So like just live your best life right now. Don't worry about how fast things are coming to you. Set your intentions to move forward, but have faith and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to, okay? And as far as action items for this new moon, that's what I would recommend, okay? Lean into your sensuality. Taurus is sensuality, luxury, the finer things in life. It's that easy money, it's easy wealth, it's like luxurious surroundings that support your way of being. Okay, they light you up, right? And even if that isn't your physical reality right now, you have to be delusional and pretend that it is. Otherwise, it won't come into your being, because who you be is what comes. Okay, the new moon is a great time leading up to it. I'm producing this early, so you have that. We're in the third quarter of this lunar cycle that started with the Aries new moon. So we're wrapping up the loose ends. Okay, we're taking action on the intentions that we set in April. Was it April? Yeah, we're in May. Sorry, time is weird. Okay, the last lunar cycle, like 28 and a half days, 29 days ago. We're taking action on that. You know, for myself personally, I've launched my first offering for my mystery school, and I am moving like all steam ahead with that project, battling all sorts of imposter syndrome, tech issues, stickiness with sacred sales, all of this kind of internal limitations coming up, right? But I'm just doing the damn thing and moving through it, because I know that doing something in alignment with my dharma is going to lead to more experience, even if it doesn't work out exactly the way that I want it to based on my programming, right? So with this new moon in Taurus, it's a bit more grounded, okay? So what I would be saying as far as action items for this new moon is looking into things and support systems that can ground you in your body, okay? All this Taurus energy is asking for grounding. Uranus being so close here can also bring this kind of restless energy. So doing things to help your nervous system calm down, being mindful of what you're consuming, purifying your diet, purifying your environment as much as you can. Personally, I'm really leaning into building structures that make my day-to-day easier as an autistic single mother, entrepreneurial single mother. I have a lot of things on my plate, and I can get into burnout really easily. And so I've been maybe not eating the most clean. And even though I really believe in the intention, the power of intention when you're eating, I also understand the effects of preservatives and sugars, fats, and salts. And so part of my structure for this new lunar cycle is to pay attention, give my body more of the care that it needs through nourishment, more home cooked foods, but making it easy with like slow cooker stuff kind of idea, right? So some sort of ritual or intention to help your physical vessel, or build structures to help you feel more grounded and secure in the new paradigm. With this energy, with Saturn and Neptune as well, this is like pretty deep intangibility, and like a devotional practice would be really helpful. So if you're not already sitting down and meditating, or if you don't have like a sacred space that is where you set intentions, like I've got my altar, classic witchcraft kind of set up. So if you're not vibing with that particular vibe, some sort of sacred space or special spot that you go to. That's a lot of S's for somebody within the list, but the point is like a devotional practice is really helpful, even if you're just taking a minute and going internally. One of my favorite teachers, Bentinho Massaro, talks about the 2 to 5 second rule. So like 2 to 5 seconds, 2 to 5 times per hour. If you can, that's a lot, but like, maybe it isn't, depending on what you're doing, but just 2 to 5 seconds where you're looking inside yourself and remembering your power as the creator. Maybe you can set these intentions first thing in the morning, right before you go to bed, at certain points of the day, maybe when you go to the washroom, whatever it is. When I was a personal trainer, I used to tell people to do like squats when they would go to the bathroom, right? Like work these new habits into things that you're already doing, tie them together, and makes it easier to remember to do it. So that would be my recommendation as far as actionable items on how to harness this energy. So yeah, I think that's about all I have to say on this lunar event. Looks pretty harmonious. I'm excited for this one. I feel like the momentum is really building and supporting us in the structuring of a new reality, as long as you can just maintain your nervous system and calm yourself down. So let me know how you're feeling in the comments, what you're doing to help your body calm down, and what your intentions are. If you're still listening to this, you can also join my brand new server. So I just created a free community for us to connect and chat about all things true sidereal. Also, anything that is outside of the norm as far as spirituality or the mainstream is concerned. It's a place for the cosmic misfits. I have also written an entire ebook. If you're curious about true sidereal and the specific lens of astrology, I have an ebook available now, and I'm going to be teaching a live course on how to intuitively read charts coming up in June. So check out the link in my bio or in the comments of this video if you're watching it on YouTube. And hopefully I'll see you in the collective. I'd love to connect and see you there. If you're still listening to this message right now, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being a supporter with your eyes and ears and hearts. And I will see you in the next one.